Stereos here from 11 Gauge Recordings, and let's get into some vocals today in this video. And the example that I'll be using for this video is from a band called Perfect Strangers. This is their single called Selfie. This was mixed by yours truly and mastered at Templeton Studios, Berlin. Please go check them out. Please go check out their music video for this song. Really well made video. The video was shot in Prague. You really have to check this band out. I'll leave a link to the video, their single, and also their website. Please go show them some support, and they'll be coming out with an album very soon, which will be mixed by me again. I'm really looking forward personally to this album because I've heard the songs and they're really great. So please do check them out, and let's get right into the video. So the vocals were really well recorded in this video, and Raphael's voice on this is stellar to say the least. Let's get right into the processing that I've done for this video. I didn't go really crazy. I started out with an R compressor on the vocal track itself, just to level out the vocals. That goes into the group later. So the Vox group is where the vocals end up going to. It also parallelly goes onto a Vox parallel group where I have an 1176 style compressor parallelly compressing it, and followed by an EQ. It is again also going to another bus which has a reverb, specifically a spring reverb for this song. I felt the spring reverb really suited this song, and it was really used in a very subtle way. So let's check out the tracks individually, and let's check out how they sound. So let's start with the vocal track itself. Let's start with the R compressor. So the idea behind the mix, the vocal mix itself, was I wanted the vocal mix to sound like the vocalist is standing right in front of you and the band is a little behind. So I wanted the vocals to sound right in your face and really, powerful. I wanted to level out the vocals before it goes on into my vocal group. So I started out with this R compressor plugin for that application. This is basically on its default setting, the attack at 16 and release at 160. So that's basically the default setting. The ratio is at around 4. So let's start by listening to how the vocals sounded as an end product, and let's move on from there. I'll then follow it by playing you the individual tracks, and we'll go step by step and go up to the final processing. So this is the chorus and the second verse of the song. So let's see how that sounds.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me. Posing with you for a selfie. I see her watch the world through someone else's eyes, and she looks happy. She sits for hours browsing through people's lives, and she feels nothing.
So hope you guys liked that. So now let's go to the individual tracks. So let's start with muting the parallel group and the reverb bus. Also, let me just bypass the plugins on the vocal bus. Let's just hear the raw vocals as such. Here goes.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me. Posing with you for a selfie.
Alright, so that was just the raw vocals. Let's add the first plugin on the chain. That was the R compressor. As I said, it's almost the stock settings on the plugin. So let's see how this sounds right now.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me. Posing with you for a selfie.
So as you can hear, it's just leveling out the vocals. It's not doing anything crazy. It's just leveling out the really loud parts. And you might hear a little bit of a gain change, but hopefully you can hear what the plugin is doing. Let's move on to the vocal bus right now. So I started with the stock Pro Tools channel strip. So basically I've just high passed the vocals till around 90 Hertz, and there's a small bump at around 3K, just about 2 dB. So the compressor is inactive as of now. So let's just hear what this EQ is doing. I'll bypass it and I'll bring it in as the vocal is playing. So here goes.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me. Posing with you for a selfie.
Just a very small bump at 3K, not doing a lot. This is followed by a limiter. This is the stock limiter that comes with Pro Tools. It's called Maxim. This is doing basically what the initial compressor was doing. So it's again a limiter, so it's kind of pinning the vocals down to a level that I'm comfortable with, so that the next compressor, which is the slate, one of the slate compressors, so when it goes to the next compressor, it's going basically at a constant level and it's not like jumping all over the place. So that was the idea behind using a compressor and a limiter before going into the actual character compressor, as I would call it. Let's see what this is doing. This is bypassed right now. I'll bring it in as the vocal is playing. Here goes.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me. Posing with you for a selfie.
So as you can see, there's a little bit of gain reduction going on, around 3 dB of gain reduction going on at the really loud parts. So basically, as I explained before, it's basically pinning the vocals to a certain level so that the next compressor doesn't have to do a lot of work. That was the idea behind using a compressor and a limiter before the character compressor. So let's move on. This is the VMR. I've got a few things going on here. So I started with the virtual tube collection, the London one specifically. I like this for vocals. It's very subtle. You might not even hear it, but hopefully you can understand what I'm trying to do with this. So I started with the virtual tube collection. That's followed by the FG401, and that's again followed by an FGN. So let's bypass all of these plugins. I'll bring it in one by one.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me. Posing with you for a selfie.
So as you might have heard, the virtual tube collection is adding a little bit of low, mids and thickness to the vocals. It's very subtle. And the FG401 is again basically leveling it out and adding a bit of character to the vocals, adding a bit of thickness to it. And the new style compressor is adding some brightness and some top end to it. So I've basically increased around 2 dB shelf EQ and brought down a bit of 800 Hz. I've also added a bit of drive, around 4 dB of this drive here. Let's move forward to the next plugin, which is, so there are two DSers. One DSer is acting on the frequencies at around 4.5 kilohertz, and the second DSer is acting on around 6.5 K. This is to control the S's in her vocals. So this is what the first DSer is doing. Let me bypass that and bring it in.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me.
So you can see the attenuation going on at the S's. The second DSR is basically doing the same thing at around 6.5 kilohertz. So we don't need to go through that again. Now the next plugin is doing something really interesting. It's adding a lot of warmth and a lot of low mids and a lot of thickness to the vocals. This is a really cool plugin by Cakewalk. Let's take a look at what this is doing.
Posing with you for a selfie.
So as you can hear, it's adding a bit of that low mid frequency range and also a bit of thickness. So that's the LA2A style compressor, leveling compressor. Now this is where most of the EQ is happening. This is really to take out a few annoying frequencies that I found. So let's see what that's doing.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me, posing with you for a selfie. Posing with you for a selfie.
So this EQ is making it sound a little bit more smoother. Now last on the chain but not the least is the virtual tape machines by Slate. This is again adding a lot of weight to the vocals and some low mid action. Very subtle again, so hopefully you guys can hear this. So let me bypass this and bring it in as the vocals are playing.
All I need is love, but all you need is me, posing with you for a selfie.
So that's about it for the vocal group. Now let's move on to the vocal parallel group, which, as I mentioned before, has an 1176 style compressor. This is the 1176 VC76 by Native Instruments. Let me just mute the vocal group so that you can hear what the actual vocal parallel group is doing. By the way, this is also followed by a small EQ move, which is basically removing out some low end and some high end. So the parallel compression that you hear is mostly the mids. So let me just play you just the vocal parallel group. Here goes.
All I need is love, but all you need is me.
So this is just added at around minus 15 dB. So I've just mixed it in along with the original vocals. So that's all the vocal parallel group is doing. It's again a very subtle effect. It's just adding a bit of depth and thickness to the actual vocal group. I'll unmute the vocal parallel group as I play the vocals. So here goes.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me.
Let me just exaggerate the vocal parallel group and maybe you can hear what it's actually doing.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me.
So as you can hear, it's just adding a bit of thickness and a bit of that low mid action. I really wanted it to sound nice and thick in the mix, so that was the intention behind adding this vocal parallel group. Very subtle again. Finally, the vocal track is routed to a vocal reverb, which is the stock spring reverb. Let me just mute the other group so that you can hear just the reverb. So here goes. So this effect again was used in a very subtle way. So all I was going for by using all these processes is just to reinforce the original vocals. I didn't go crazy on any of the plugins used here. There was a reason behind it because I really didn't want to change much of the originally recorded vocals. It sounded good from the get-go. I just wanted to reinforce the low mids a bit and add a bit of thickness to it. So most of the plugins I used is doing exactly that. Let me exaggerate that with the other vocal groups. Here goes.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me. Posing with you for a selfie.
This gives it a nice ambience and gives it a nice pace so that the vocals sits in the mix well. So that was the intention behind that. So that's about it. That's all I did for the vocal processing. Let's listen to it again in the context of the mix. So here goes.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me.
So let me play you guys the soloed vocals first with the processing on and with the processing bypass. So let's start with the processing bypass and let me bring back all the plugins in.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me.
So hopefully you can hear what the processing is doing. Now let's finally hear that in the context of the mix.
Posing with you for a selfie. All I need is love, but all you need is me. Posing with you for a selfie.
Alright, so that's about it for this video. Hopefully you guys like this. I could go in depth into vocal processing and use another example if you guys are into it, and if you guys want to know about how I approach vocal processing for heavy vocals also, let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers and have a great day.